What you're looking at right now are viral 3D character documentaries made completely on Autopilot. I've spent 1,000+ hours building out custom AI automations for businesses, but this automation I'm going to go through in the video uses the new SeeDream 4.0 model, Cadence 1.0, and 11 Labs to create these cinematic viral 3D documentaries which are getting millions of views. So in this video I'll be showing you the exact n8n automation that creates these 3D documentaries on Autopilot, from AI script generation all the way to YouTube upload. We'll walk through the complete system. I'll break down specifically what's happening behind the scenes. We'll generate a new video from scratch. At the very end of the video, I'll be giving away the template entirely for free. So if you're new to the channel, I've never seen my face before, I'm Nemisi, and on this channel I'll go through the real applications of AI technology and really pushing the limits of what's possible with the AI models which we have access to right now. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video.
On March 18th, 1990, two men disguised as Boston police officers entered the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum after hours. They told the security guard they were responding to a disturbance call. The guard let them in without question. The fake officers then did something unthinkable. They handcuffed both museum guards, wrapped duct tape around their heads, and left them in the basement. For the next 81 minutes, they had the entire museum to themselves. Here's where it gets strange. The thieves ignored priceless Renaissance paintings worth millions. Instead, they crudely cut Rembrandt's Storm on the Sea of Galilee and Vermeer's The Concert from their frames. They even spent precious time struggling to remove a bronze eagle from its mount, worth barely anything compared to other pieces they left behind. The FBI has followed thousands of leads across 4 continents. They've identified suspects. They've offered a $10 million reward. But 33 years later, empty frames still hang on the museum walls, a haunting reminder of masterpieces that may never be recovered.
So this is the n8n automation that makes creating 3D documentaries on Autopilot possible. It's got a couple of components which I'm going to walk through now before we get into real in-depth explanation of the nodes, but I'm just going to give you a high-level overview of what's happening. So the first thing that we're doing is we're creating a script with Jonathan Nolan, the viral scriptwriter AI agent. And this agent will take a given niche and produce a script and story that has viral elements, right? And it takes any niche that you give it. For example, this niche was unsolved heists worth millions, but you can put any niche that you can imagine into that workflow settings, and then the workflow will produce videos for that specific niche. After we get the script from Jonathan Nolan, the viral script writing agent, we go to 11 Labs and we upload that script to get a text-to-speech narration for that video. So after we get the 11 Labs text-to-speech with all of its cue timings, we'll pass that over to Christopher Nolan, the AI video director agent, who has the ability to create a full storyboard for that specific script. And now this storyboard is very useful because of the way things are working behind the scenes, but it creates a storyboard by working with 2 other AI agents, Hayao Miyazaki, the 3D character specialist, as well as Hans Zimmer. So Hans Zimmer will basically create the music for the short on Autopilot. So yes, this automation also creates the music which you heard in the videos, as well as the Hayao Miyazaki 3D character specialist. So this AI agent is creating all of those image generation prompts for the 3D characters which you saw in the video. So after the Christopher Nolan agent has completed its job, we're just now going to generate all the assets to put this video together. So the first thing that we're doing is we're generating images using the SeeDream 4.0 model. It's a crazy model. It's rivaling Nano Banana, but we'll touch on those models just in a moment. And then from those image generations, we're animating each image using Cadence 1.0. The reason we're not using something like VO3 is because we don't need that audio, which VO3 has, and Cadence 1.0 is very cheap compared to something like VO3 Fast. So you can see the next thing that we're doing is we're extracting the last frame of all of those animated videos now. And the reason we're doing that is because we're creating transitions from the last frame of the previous video to the first frame of the next video. That's how you can get those seamless cinematic transitions. And the model that we're using to do that is Julio Minimax. It's a great model for first to last frame transitions and animations. And I'll touch on all of this in a moment, but that's the model that we're using. And then we're just generating the music for it using 11 Labs once again. And then we're just uploading that audio all into Google Drive and just stitching it all together using file model. And finally, once you have all of those assets together, we stitch it all together via APIs using FFmpeg and Fowl.ai. So those videos are undoubtedly crazy, but there's just one thing I want to touch on before we jump into the node-by-node breakdown of this AI automation. So this system can be easily remixed for any of your specific use cases. Whether you're building a Faceless YouTube channel, creating B-roll for client projects, or even automating ad creators for your agency. The framework which I'm showing you today is the foundation for turning AI content generation into scalable and profitable operations. So if you're unaware, right now thousands of people are on YouTube creating Faceless channels that are earning thousands of dollars monthly. I've just got some examples here. You can see Cypher here. He's got 10 videos and he's got 234,000 subscribers, and estimated monthly earnings from vidIQ is 5 to 15k. Next we have Ironic. He's got 13 videos, 80k subscribers. Estimated monthly earnings are anywhere from $300 to up to 1k. Literally his videos are quite blowing up, and you can see that they're very similar to the style that we're creating with this automation. So we've also got Neo here, another big YouTube channel right here. 2.85 million subscribers, only 78 videos. Estimated monthly earnings are 7k to 22k. 1.6 million views in the past 7 days alone. And the last one here is Fern. 91 videos, almost 4 million subscribers. Views gained in the past 7 days, 7 million views. With an estimated monthly earnings of 35k to 105k. That's the power of Faceless channels right now. They are blowing up the internet and the YouTube scene. So the real breakthrough here isn't these AI models, because literally anyone can go onto ChatGPT, SeeDream 4.0, or even Nano Banana. It's about automating the entire process end to end. So while other creators are manually going from ChatGPT, creating a script, then going to these image generation models, then animating the images, creating the transitions, putting it all into a timeline, all you have to do is simply click a button and all of that is done automatically for you. What used to take hours of manual work happens with a single click in n8n. So now that you guys have a high level understanding of the different components of this workflow and like the image generation, extracting the frames, etc., and you really understand the power behind an automation like this, I think we can jump into the node by node setup and some of the logical decisions which are made to make this automation work. So you can go ahead and start off with the workflow settings. The workflow settings is basically what will make this whole automation yours and for your use case. Right now it's just more tailored towards the Faceless YouTube content, but you can go ahead and pick apart this part of the workflow and then make it for whatever use case you want. But we're going to keep it for this. So we've just got the niche as well as the voice ID, and the voice ID is just from 11 Labs, which I'll touch on in a minute. And the niche is basically what niche you're creating content for. So here we've just got unsolved heists worth millions. But I've been very nice to you guys, and I have created a custom GPT that you can go ahead and use. What you just need to do is just click on suggest a niche, and you'll get like I think 10 to 20 niche ideas that'll really work well for this system. And we can even try and generate a whole new AI video using a suggested niche from this ChatGPT. So it's given us this idea here: abandoned theme parks with dark secrets. Let's go ahead and generate a video once I've fully explained the automation with a specific niche. So yeah, let me just go ahead and explain the rest of it. And then for the voice ID, we're getting that from 11 Labs. So this is 11 Labs. 11 Labs is basically a great platform that you can use to generate sound, mostly narration. So you can see here they've got lots of voices as well as music and sound effects, and you can even clone your voice, but that's in a different video. If you want to see how you can clone your voice to create your own AI avatar, you can watch this video up there, but that's not what this video is about. We're creating narrations for the reels which are created, and to do that we're going to go ahead and look at trending voices, but we want to use V3 voices. The V3 model is really great because you can add these expression tags, so you can say the character says this with a excited expression in a tag, and that will come through in the audio which is generated. So to get a V3 audio model, you can click on best voices for V3, and they've got a whole list of voices which you can go ahead and just listen to. So you can see here's one.
I must not fear.
There's a different one here.
Hello.
You can go ahead and use these ones. What you just do is you'll click on copy voice ID, head over back to the n8n, and just paste the voice ID there like this. I'm not going to paste it in because I like the voice which I'm using already. So yeah, that is what is happening in the first node. And then there's Jonathan Nolan. If you don't know the Nolan brothers, go ahead and watch like Inception or Interstellar, change your life. But that's not the point of this video. This is just basically the viral script writer. I've gone ahead and really created an extensive prompt that following the best practices of hook structure, short form content, story arcs, the whole thing. So this system can create like really enticing videos for you. So let me just break down. I'm not going to go into too depth into it, but I'm just going to break down some of the decisions here. So I'll read the role. You are an elite AI scriptwriter and viral content strategist specializing in crafting attention-grabbing, evergreen, 1-minute niche scripts optimized for AI voice generation and short-form video platforms. Your expertise lies in applying advanced research-backed viral hook frameworks while incorporating expressive speech techniques that maximize viewers' retention and shareability. So I've just gone ahead and aggregated the best practices for hook creation, as well as the 11 Labs official documentation for expressive speech. So you can see here, it will output an example like this. So if the niche was suspenseful history documentaries, you can see these character tags, which I was speaking about earlier. Curious, what if I told you that a single bizarre intervention changed everything we know about modern warfare? So you can see here, these are fully capitalized for emphasis. 11 Labs is great because it can understand literally everything that you put in. And this AI agent is prompted to produce really great scripts like this that really get the best out of 11 Labs. So literally straight out the box, you'll get the best of 11 Labs v3. To generate the script, we go ahead and we just put it into 11 Labs. You can see here, text to speech, and we just have to input the voice ID, but that's already done for you just from using this workflow settings node right here. And yeah, it automatically puts the voice ID in there for you, and we're calling the with timestamps endpoint. So the reason we're using with queue timings instead of just like the built-in 11 Labs node, you can see here there's an 11 Labs node, or just using like a normal endpoint, is because we need the queue timings to match the scenes with what is being said by the text to speech. And that's just what really makes dynamic content that just hooks people. So that's why we're getting the with timestamps. And you can see here that it is quite messy. So I'm just going to close that audio base 64 because it's just a big string. But if I just go to schema, you can see here that alignment, you just get like a single characters, which is quite messy. And if you were to pass that auto AI agent, it'll get quite terrible. So you clean that up with a code node. This code is generated by Claude. I don't think you need to know how to code. As long as you can prompt the agents and understand what is happening in n8n, that's all you need. Just provide all that context to Claude and it'll give you a perfect code node that works. So you can see here, this is the output of the code node. It's basically getting the audio length. So you can see that it is 1 minute and 36 seconds, this audio, and then it gets a script with queue timing. So you can see here, the exact script which was produced by Jonathan Nolan. What if I told you that in 1997, thieves stole 50 million in diamonds without firing a single shot or hurting anyone? And you can see the duration in seconds was 9 seconds. And then it does that for each line of the full script. And then at the end, it's got these media breakdowns. Because we are generating images, which will have an animation time of around 4 seconds, and transitions will have a time of 5 seconds, we can calculate how many images we'll need and transitions we need. So this system is fully dynamic. No matter how long your script is, it'll produce enough media content to span the full duration of that text to speech and the narration. So that's why the system can really scale with whatever use case you really want to use. So we passed all of that information to the Christopher Nolan video director agent. In this user message, we just got the script with timings exactly that was produced by the code node, just with like the seconds and everything. And that's because it needs to prompt the Hayao Miyazaki 3D character as well as the Hans Zimmer with the queue timings so everything can match up in the end. So we've got the audio length here. We just passed all of this information into it. And then we also, again, got a very extensive system prompt to get the best out of the system. So I'll just read the role and the key parts of the system prompt, but you can see it is very extensive because I've done a whole lot of trial and error to make sure that the system produces great content. So you can see this role, you're Christopher Nolan, an expert AI director specializing in crafting compelling cinematic short-form faceless video content. You orchestrate the entire creative process, collaborating with 2 specialized agents, Hayao Miyazaki, 3D character and image prompt expert. If you don't know, Spirited Away, that's the designer behind it. I just like using cool names for AI agents. And Hans Zimmer, music composer, prompt expert, also from Interstellar and great movies. But anyway, your mission is to transform a provided script with queue timings into a visually and emotionally engaging short-form video with viral elements ensuring seamless integration of visuals, movement, transitions, and music. So I just want to touch on the model real quick because that's an extensive prompt. We're using 3.5 Haiku for Jonathan because 3.5 Haiku just really does produce good stories. But we're using 3.7, Claude 3.7 to create this because it's quite an extensive prompt. And then it puts that all together. I'm not going to go through the rest of the prompt in a nicely formatted structured JSON output like this. So you can see we've just got the title. So that's for the final video, which will be uploaded into Google Drive. The shorts, the shots, and that's just an object of shot objects. So this is what will be created with the image URL and be animated, and we'll get the last frame of. And that's just an array of all of those shots, and then we'll have all the transitions as well. So that is Christopher Nolan. And then if I just touch on Hayao Mizuyaki, this 3D character agent, we're just basically giving it a prompt template to use and some instructions of what it should do with that template. So the Hans Zimmer prompt is quite simple. It's using the 11 Labs best practice to get the best out of the prompt to music model, which 11 Labs has. As you can see here, it's quite dynamic because 11 Labs understands this. So if you can say from 0 seconds to 15 seconds, it has an intro with a gentle ambient synth, you can create music that matches what's happening in the script exactly. So that's why we provide this AI agent with the script here with cue timing. So you can see here from 30 seconds to 42 seconds, we've provided with a script. So this AI agent synthesizes the script and understands it and applies the best music to what's happening specifically on. So that's why the music matches what's happening in the scenes quite well. So we get an object like this, which is produced by the AI agent. So if I just go to schema and just move this to the side, we get an output like this with the title, shots, objects, transition array, and the soundtrack prompt. And we just iterate through this whole process, creating the images, calling the animate image, and extract frame. So I'm just going to briefly go over those. So the AI agent produced something like this with a shot array and transitions array, and we split those both out because we want to do parallelization of all of those images and produce them all at once instead of one by one. I was doing that in the past, but it was just taking like 40 minutes to produce 1 2-minute video, and I was like, I'm not doing this. So I watched this Nate Herc video. I really recommend him on parallelization, and I took some of his aspects and I applied it to this automation. So I'm going to leave that video in the description down below. He's doing great things, that guy. So what we're doing is we're splitting that out, and we get a whole host of image prompts here, and we call this sub workflow, which is going to produce all of those images for us one by one. So I'm just going to pull up one of those images before I jump into the automation and the sub workflow. We get great images like this, which are like 4K, or 2K rather, but you can go up to 4K. It'll just change the pricing a bit. But yeah, crazy images like that, which are really good using the SeeDream 4.0 image generation model from Key AI. So let me open up this sub execution so you can understand what's happening here. So this is just a simple workflow. We're just using Key AI's SeeDream 4.0, which is really, really cheap. I'll have a breakdown of all the costs at the end of the video, so you can stay posted for that. But we're just uploading all of those prompts here. You can see with the model, ByteDance's SeeDream 4.0 text to image, and then the prompt is dynamically filled out by the workflow's inputs here. And you can see these prompts are quite extensive by the AI agent, Hayao Mizuyaki, literally everything that you need to produce those crazy images. And if you wanted to change the orientation and also the resolution of this image, you would do it in this sub workflow here. So you can see here, if you wanted to make this 9:16 or landscape 16:9, you would just put that in here, and you can go the way all up, and you can go all the way up to 4K images, which is really great with this model. And we just wait around 2 minutes because I found that that is a really good time for almost all of the image generations to be complete. And we just download the images and return the URLs over to the main workflow. So this is Key AI. It's essentially an AI model aggregator which allows you to get access to the best models out there in the world for quite cheap actually. So you can see here that it is extremely cheap to create an image. It is almost 1 cent, or we can round that up and call it 2 cents to produce one image. So it is quite good. So yeah, we're using SeeDream on Key AI to produce these images. So I'm going to come back to the main workflow, and then we are animating the images using SeeDream 1.0 also on Key AI, which I'll show you in a minute. I'm just going to open up the sub workflow and kind of talk through what's happening here. Very similar to what happened in the previous workflow, is because most of these models which we'll be using in this workflow are polling APIs. So that means you'll post a request to the API, it'll start working on it, and it'll take some time to generate your request. So you can see here, we've just got the animate images here, and I'm just going to show you the animate prompt. So the AI agent, or Christopher Nolan agent, the parent agent, produces prompts like this: slow parallax zoom in with subtle ambient particle drift, emphasizing suspense and mystery. and then we just provide the image URL to be animated. And using ByteDance, the company behind TikTok, to get that image to video using Seedance 1.0. So I'll show you that. The input looks like this, with just the prompt for the animation, as well as the image URL and the resolution. So you can increase the resolution or just change the price a bit, and also the duration of the clip which you're creating. So just the camera fixed is false, seed -1, and enable safety checker is false, because sometimes it can flag stuff that just doesn't need to be flagged. And we have a lot more wait nodes here, because just video generation takes a whole lot longer than image generation. So we wait about like 4 minutes. Each of these are 60 seconds. And then very similar to getting the images, we just get the videos using this task ID, which is returned by the first node here in the animate image node. And let me jump over to Key AI and show you the model that we are using. So we're using Seedance API over here, and I'll show you how much it costs for one image to video. So this is the endpoint that we're using on Key AI. We're using Seedance 1.0 to basically bring any image of yours to life, and we're animating it from the animate prompt, which is produced by Christopher Nolan. And you can see the pricing here. It's really not bad. We've got 30 cents at 720p, so you saw we're using 720p, but if you want to have 1080p, it'll be 70 cents. And I think 720p is really good. As you saw, the quality which was produced was in 720p, so that's a very happy medium between price and quality. So go ahead and I recommend that you use 720p, but if you want to upgrade the quality, say for like client projects or whatnot, go ahead to 1080p. And if you're staying to the end of the video, I'll show you how you can get from 1080p to 4K videos, but just stay for the end of the video where I'll kind of go through some enhancements to this automation. So yeah, let's go over to the next point in this automation, and we're extracting the frame of that animation. The reason we're doing that is because we want to create the transitions, like I said. So I'm just going to open up this sub execution right here and walk you through what's happening here. Very similar. Most of them are doing the exact same thing which the previous workflow was doing. So we're just extracting the frame, but this time using Fal AI. Fal AI is a different model aggregator, which I'll jump over to right now. Using the FFmpeg API on Fal AI to just extract the last frame so that we can create the transition. So to extract the last frame using FFmpeg on Fal AI, and this is what the request looks like, just the video URL, and the frame type is last. And then this request is very quick, so we just wait like something like 25 seconds just to make sure, because on average it's like 10 to 15 seconds, so just rather wait an extra 10 seconds and not get an error. And we just download the frames and just return them like this. So if I just open one of these as an example, you can see here that we get the frames like this. So that was the last frame of the animation. So this is Fal AI. It's basically an AI aggregator model, very similar to Key AI, and it allows you a whole host of models and endpoints which you can use to really get the best out of the images or videos which you're trying to create. So using this FFmpeg endpoint just to extract the frame, and as you can see, you just put it input the video URL and you specify the frame that you want. We choose last and you'll get a frame just like this. We also use a different FFmpeg API that's in Fal AI later in the workflow, which I'll touch on once we get there. But there's one thing I want to touch on. If you're on self-hosting, you might not even have to use something like Fal to really manipulate some of the videos or images which you're getting from the system. You can literally download FFmpeg in your Docker which are running n8n, and that'll allow you to access FFmpeg within your n8n instance. I'm not the best in understanding web hosting and everything like that, so I'll just go ahead and just use the APIs. That's something I know, and I'm not going to go ahead and fiddle with all of that, even though it would be cheaper. But like, if I look at the price, it is 0.0002 per compute second. So it's quite negligible at the end of the day, and I'll just rather save my time and save my brain from racking with these web hosting stuff, and just use the endpoint which I know how to use. So that's how we're extracting the last frame. So if I just jump out of there, we are recreating the shot object. This is just some boring stuff. I'm not going to touch on it too much. This is just for workflow optimization. Just to recreate the shot object, we're just adding the image URL, the video URL, as well as the last frame URL for later processing in the workflow. And then we just recreate that shot object, which was created by this Christopher Nolan one. Then we split that object out, but instead of splitting out the shots like we did initially here, as you can see, we split out the shots. We are splitting out the transitions, because now it's time to create the transitions now that we have all of the images and the last frames. And this limit node here is because we don't need to create 10 transitions for 10 shots. We just need to create like 9 transitions because we have 9 shots. So we create the transitions for each one of the shot objects. And if I just view the sub execution with you, I can explain it like I've explained the other one. So once again, it's very similar to the rest of them. It's just uploading, polling the request, and getting the result status. So you can see here, we're using Fal AI, but this time we're using Julio 2, which I'll jump to in a minute. But yeah, we're just waiting around 3 minutes for the transitions. We're downloading the transitions, and then we're returning them to the main workflow. So the model that we're using on Fal AI is the Minimax Julio 2 standard image to video. That's because this endpoint allows us to put in an image URL, which will be the starting image, and then the end image URL, and it'll create an animation or transition or literally whatever you prompt between those two images. And that's the endpoint we're using. You can see here for a 768p video, it'll cost around 5 cents per second, which is also not bad. I'll have a full breakdown of the cost at the end of the video, so stay posted for that, don't forget that. And then we just create the transitions and we aggregate it like we were doing here. And so we just get all of those transition links. So you can see how we've got around 9 of, and then we just recreate the shot object, which was produced here, just inputting the video URL, which was just created, and then we just aggregate it once again like we did here. And this next code node that we're doing is we're creating a timeline for all of the shots in order. So for example, this shot will be the first animated shot from here, and then we'll have the transition for that shot object between these two shots. That's what's going on in this timeline, and the reason we're doing that is because of later in the workflow when we're editing it all together, which I'll touch on in a minute. And the next thing we're doing is we are generating the music, and with 11 labs, and 11 labs is honestly crazy, and it can generate crazy music like this, which I'll just let it play. It just matches the vibe and like ambiance of the story. That just makes it really enticing. And then we just move that to a base 64 string. That's because we're going to upload it all in another workflow here, and we're going to upload audio, and we're just going to view that execute. And we're using Google Drive to host the text to speech as well as the music, because we need to use it in the combining all of them together. So in this workflow, what we're doing is we're uploading the text to speech narration as well as the music onto Google Drive, because we need to get a publicly accessible URL, which will be used when you're putting literally all of the assets together. So what I would actually do to improve the system is I'd actually upload everything here, all the images, all the videos. I'll do that in another video or a beefed up version of the system. If you want to see that, just let me know in the comments down below. But we'll upload all of the assets like the images, the videos, etc. into a uniform Google Drive file for that specific workflow. I just wanted to get this video out for you guys as fast as possible, and all those additions are quite easy, just editing Google Drive. But let me walk you through what's happening here. So we just move that to a binary file and we upload it to Google Drive, and we just change the permissions so we can make it publicly accessible. So the role is reader, the type is anyone, and we just get that link to make sure that we have the music file as well as the music narration URL. So yeah, that is what's happening in that workflow. So if we can head over back to the main workflow, we just get returned the music URL, which is probably accessible, as well as the narration URL. And we all put that into the final node here, which is going to bring everything together and produce the final video for you in about like 5 minutes. As you can see, if I just pull up this execution log right here, it took about 13 minutes to create one video, and that's literally down from 40 minutes. So this is probably the fastest that you can get it. Obviously, if you have less scenes and a shorter clip, like around 60 seconds instead of like 1 minute, 2 minutes, it'll be a whole lot faster. But yeah, let's just jump over into the last sub workflow here and explain what's going on. So in this workflow, I've had to do a lot of playing around just to get everything really up to scratch. So in this FFmpeg API loud norm, what we're doing here is just changing some of the settings here. So we're just saying the volume is -25. So if you want a louder music, you want softer music, you can just change this value. And the true peak is -2, and the offset value is -2. But I would say that you really change if you want to change the volume of this. Play around with these two. the integrated loudness, as well as just sending that over to that endpoint. And like before, just waiting for the endpoint to end, and then we just get the music here and we just download it into a WAV file, and then we do the timeline tracks because of the way that this next endpoint expects the FFmpeg API compose. We literally just have the tracks object or a tracks key with the tracks to JSON string object from the code node. And let me just show you that endpoint in File AI. So if we just go over the top here and go to compose, give it 1 second to load. FFmpeg API compose using this endpoint. Once again, very, very cheap. All of these are like 0.002 per second, very negligible. And if you times that out by like say a 90-minute video, it's 2 cents to produce a 90-second video, which is honestly ridiculous. You're just paying for like the electricity and water in File AI at that point. But anyway, you can see we've got a tracks object here with different types and keyframes and all of that, and we're getting the code node to produce that for us. And once again, this code node was produced by Claude AI. Just put in what you need, the variables like this, and say what you need, and it'll produce the code for you. We're adding the music with the endpoint. Once again, we're waiting, and we are just getting the final URL where we can just get this video and download it to our computer. And obviously you can add a step into here which automatically puts into Google Drive or sends it to your Slack or sends it to your Telegram bot. But all of those additions are quite easy, and this is just like a starting point of where you can build upon this. So while we're generating a new video for the abandoned theme parks with dark secrets niche, I just want to talk over some of the costs as well associated with this and some other things with it. So just for a quick cost breakdown of what producing a 3D animated documentary might cost you, and the different models that we're using. So using SeeDream 4.0 for the image generation, as you can see, it's around 18 cents if you round that up for 10 images, which is like dirt cheap. And then 100 images would cost you $1. So then if you're doing Cadence 1.0 for the image animation, that's creating like the movement and the dynamic images. The cost will vary depending on what resolution you choose. So we're going with 720p. You can see here that it was 0.3 cents per second, which is not bad. So for 6 seconds, it's around 18 cents per video, which is really good. Minimax 02 image to video, also quite cheap. We're using 786p, which is around 5 cents per second, so around 30 cents per video. And then FFmpeg costs are literally I just want to compare the prices which you just saw to something like 3D animation on Fiverr. So you go to Fiverr and search 3D animation, and these are the prices which come up. $125, $150, $250, $15. I don't know how many minutes this will be, but $20, $100, $125, $200, $1,200. The price of the animation is ridiculous, and when automations like this exist, which can produce complete videos, which you saw on Autopilot, at the costs which are almost negligible, the competition is quite stiff when stuff like that. So if you wanted to get 4K output, which I was talking about earlier in the video, you can go ahead and use this Topaz upscale video in that last sub workflow where we're composing everything together before you return that URL to wherever you wanted to put it. And yeah, you can go ahead and upload it to this endpoint. It's very similar to all the other workflows. You just choose the video URL and you can upscale it by say 3, you can upscale it by 4, that'll just make it 4K, and you can set like a target FPS like 24 or 60 FPS, it's really up to you. And it will cost around 10 cents per second. So for like those shorts that we're creating, it'll be anywhere from like $1 to like $2 depending on the length of the video. There's also another endpoint which will really take things to the next level. Like I said, this was just a framework where you can apply specific use cases and really build upon what I've provided you. So you can go ahead and use something like the file auto captions to make this like really optimized for short form. And this is like dirt cheap. It's like 1 cent per video. It's not even scaling by time. And you can specify the text color, the font, everything, stroke width, left alignment, top alignment, refresh interval. Choose everything, just upload the video right there. And the last thing that I'd recommend that you do, say in this sub workflow, the other workflow is still cooking up that video we were talking about. So if I just jump into this workflow, you can auto post this to YouTube. So there's a native YouTube node in n8n. So here, what we can do is we can just search up YouTube right there, and you can just say post a video, upload a video right there. And there you have it. You can just download the video before you post it. The title is already generated from that code node which I gave you, and put in the region code, everything. You can auto upload it onto YouTube within a single click. You might want to have a look at the video before you want to upload it, but hey, that's your own prerogative. There's one more thing which can take the system to the very next level. So in 11 Labs, there's this endpoint called Create Sound Effects. Now I've thought of some ideas of how you can implement this. You can have an AI agent like the sub agent, which is working with the Christopher Nolan, which will look at all the shot objects and create sound effects for them that really sell the full automation. So you can see here, it will create a prompt, so the text that will get converted into a sound effect, and then you can also have some different criteria which the AI agent can select based on what is in the shot. So this is just some really high level thinking right now, but yeah, you can really have fun with this automation. I'm just going to give it to you and you can play around with it, make whatever you want, add whatever you want. I think this is just a great foundation which you can really build upon for your own specific use case, and I've given you all the tools. So it's now about going ahead and just using what I've given you. So this video is going to be finished generating, but like I said, if you want access to the full template, you can hit the first link in the description down below, download it completely for free. I don't have like some school community where you have to pay $10 or something like that. No, it's literally just a Google Drive file. You can go ahead and download it completely free. Also, the custom ChatGPT will be the second link in the description down below. You can generate ideas for your specific niche within a click of a button saying suggest a niche, and you're going to put it into this workflow settings block. And if you want help building a custom AI automation like this for your own specific business, whether that be for your creative agency, for consulting, if you need some personal branding content, get the first link in the description down below, and you can look at how a system like this might factor into what you're building with your business. So that's probably it for me from the video, and I will leave this video, which will be almost finished generating in the next 2 minutes, to play for the outro. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Best believe this is not the end of the Seedance Nano Banana AI content generation stuff. I really find this stuff quite cool, and yeah, there'll be so many more videos coming your way, so keep posted for that.
Imagine finding an abandoned theme park where over 5 million people once laughed and played, now hiding a deadly secret beneath its rusted rides. But what you don't know about these forgotten playgrounds might actually keep you up at night. Nara Dreamland in Japan stands frozen in time since 2006, a ghostly replica of Disneyland where nature slowly reclaims what humans left behind. Urban explorers who sneak inside report hearing children's laughter echoing through empty pathways where no children have played for decades. At Six Flags New Orleans, floodwaters from Hurricane Katrina left behind more than just destruction. The park sits in toxic sludge, containing chemicals so dangerous that cleanup crews developed mysterious illnesses after just hours of exposure. Then there's Lake Shawnee Amusement Park in West Virginia, built on an ancient burial ground where settlers and Native Americans once massacred each other. After 6 children died on its rides, the park closed suddenly in 1966. Locals claim to see the ghost of a little girl in a blue dress swinging alone at night. Park owners have documented over 300 unexplained paranormal events since closing. Perhaps most disturbing is Berlin's Spree Park, where former owner Norbert Witte smuggled cocaine worth $14 million inside a ride called the Flying Carpet to save his failing business. These decaying wonderlands don't just hide rust and graffiti. They conceal dark histories that their cheerful facades were designed to make you forget.